Reading fan reactions for the Oblivion, I guess, tease. This is now official. First, it started out as, oh, this leaked, which I told y'all. I said, guys, come on now. Did you really think this was a leak? This is what they call sanctioned leaks, and the reason I don't believe them as much anymore is because when Bethesda was acquired by Microsoft, we woke up to the news. We had no clue. It was under wraps. Not a single thing was said or even alluded to. Now, the one that we kind of heard in a sense that floated around, and in all fairness, is the one about Warner Brothers in the pipeline to be acquired, which then later got confirmed in the FTC trial. But Phil wasn't even really going for that one. The Bethesda one was probably like secret sauce, no phones anywhere. I don't even know if NSA got a hold of that news. I think they probably went to the middle of a river somewhere and were splashing water as they were talking about. Anyways, let me stop being silly. This person says Xbox best place to play games from the best studios. Anyone that knows what this pick is of cannot make it out. I see a giant 4 on it, but that's all I can make out. You think it's an IP like this, they would have something recognizable? This person says Square Enix has better games, hard pass. Well, I don't know about that, Zelgadis, but again, it's all up for debate, okay? About quality of games, you're not going to see me there. I couldn't be bothered. This person says, Skyblivion fanatics, this is the real deal, not a Skyrim station, dumbed down version of Oblivion. Do Morrowind next and add Radiant AI to it, or some QOL. Somebody brought their Indiana Jones physical release issues here. If you don't like it, get Game Pass. Waiting the DI detected list to decide if I spend my money here. Wow. This one said, bruh, that's an announcement. We want the release. 4 is my favorite number. This Nintendo Switch user says, that Switch 2 logo gonna look good on this one. Bro. A Switch user is now port begging? Like, what? Oh, okay. Let's take a big, huge sidebar and a huge detour. Okay? For the sake of sensibility. I'm a PC gamer who I'm in here for value. A lot of people seem to want to make fun of value as some kind of a sickness or whatever it is. But really, if you're gaming and you're building your own machine, which is your ownership, if you know people that talk about ownership, I always smile when console owners say that, because I'm like, guys, you do know that if you buy a console, that console belongs to you and the console holder. It's you and Xbox's console, because they do all these things that are kind of weird on there. They could give you an update that kind of renders that console weird, if you get what I mean. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that they're going to do anything to jeopardize it, but, you know, they could be like, hey, here's this update. And then you notice that your physical discs are all leading an internet connection. Something weird. Okay, just humor me. I'm not saying that they're going to do it. I'm not saying that they've done it. I'm not saying that they can do it. I'm just saying humor me. There are things they can do on there. However, the PC gamer is not subject to this. When they get their own machine, if they look at Windows and say buzz off, they can go any route they decide to. Shoot, some users can even install Mac on their PCs. It's hard, but they do it. Now, what I wanted to say in regard to this comment from this Nintendo fanboy, this is a huge Nintendo fanboy. Like, this person thinks that there's some kind of deity under Nintendo. That's how much of a fanboy there is. I mean, look at their gamer tag. I can't call another person that. I only believe in the one true God. So get the heck out of here with that. You're a human being just like me. And so what I'm seeing now is that somewhere, somehow, a lot of these people actually do like video games, which is a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm finally now in a position where I say, I'm proud that we're starting to see the anticipation for games as a whole. And as much as they may try to go ahead and sell it to you, these people want Xbox games. They always made it seem like they don't care about Xbox games as long as it was unreachable and untenable for them. But somewhere deep down inside, knowing how gamer behavior has always been, the people who called the shots looked and said, if we cannot keep up this facade of exclusivity, we need to get out there and make money. And boy, did Xbox run and break open that sucker like it was no tomorrow, because Xbox was literally eating money when it could not sell consoles from putting its games where people wanted to actually play those games. This is what's been the very interesting thing overall. I was on Twitter the other day, And somebody was talking about something, and I said to them, let me see what the conversation is here. You got to see it for yourselves so that you guys don't say I'm making it up, because I've been accused of making up all this stuff when it's like, bro, we all are on the internet. Why would we want to make this stuff up? People who like fandom like to do stuff like this. This person said something about this Xbox BG's post, which kind of ties into this in a sense, because, this is about PlayStation, but the person who actually triggered this comment is a Nintendo fanboy. Said, all I've heard from Pony since I was a kid is that Xbox games are trash. And then he points to the pre-order list. This person, Cookies and Cream, said there was a long period where they were. Now Xbox has bought some stellar talent and adapted their software strategies to be more all-inclusive. Then they said Xbox gave up on the console war, which was always a lame internet facade anyways. Hold on. I agree that they are not doing this whole console warring thing, but to say that their games for a long period were trash is unfair. And this is coming from VG. When I want to point you to something, and this is not from me, this is from the reality that one of these games that's here that you claim was trash for a long time is Forza. So if you say Xbox games were trash for a long time, yet that iteration of that game is showing up and PlayStation players are gobbling it up, it doesn't make any sense, because the game has probably always been quality, but has always been out of the reach of PlayStation players who want to play them. So I said, there was a long period. I said, bro, during that long period, they were literally making only Halo's, Forza, and Gears game. They made Sunset Overdrive, which is not on PlayStation. Perhaps if they brought that too here. And I said it. I said they should do it. Some people were mad at me. I'm like, bring Sunset Overdrive. Bring an Insomniac game over there and let's see what's going on. This one of which is in this list in color. What are you talking about? Then they tried to tell me that I was doing revisionist history, of which I pulled the receipts. The moment you say that, I'm like, no, I'm not revising anything. My eyes can see Forza Horizon 5 on the gold tier of games in 2022, years after it had launched. Did it not launch in 2019? Right? So all this while, these so-called Xbox games that PlayStation players had been claiming are trash have been eating money on PC year after year. Look at Forza Horizon in the gold category in the Steam Best Games of 2021. These are the best sold games. These are the games that gamers put money on. The check cleared. And when you go to gold, you'll see Sea of Thieves, which came out, I think, the previous 2019 as well. You see Forza 4, which came out a while back, and you see Forza 5. So what's the talk about these games being bad? Could it be that they think Gears is bad? Shall I show you Gears on the list as well? So when I jump into these, and guys, we haven't gone, shout out to Princess Peaches, by the way, man. Princess Peaches, I got to tell you, man, you really changed up this whole conversation when you dug and found the bestseller list from 2017 and 2018, and we saw Age of Empires on there. Because at this time, we knew the first game to actually make its way was Quantum Break, and that game didn't necessarily appeal to a lot of PC gamers. But once Forza and Gears and Halo started to make their way to PC, we could see the trend. Like, being able to go back that far with data sets and juxtapose them with what we had, that really opened up the door. So here is Halo in 2019, that was actually launched in 2019, Halo the Master Chief Collection, right? And it was still a top seller in 2020 in the gold category. If you don't know what the Steam bestseller list is, it's their top 100 games or so or more measured by gross revenue, meaning the check cleared, right? And these Xbox games, and behold, I'm not pointing at Doom. At that point, it did not belong to Xbox. I'm pointing to Xbox games, the ones of which this user said for there was a long period. That's not true. Why? Because the so-called PlayStation fans would never have known. They never played those games. Those games are not available to them. They were told in their, in the streets that these games were trash. But PC gamers kind of got a hit of it and said, you know what? This isn't so bad. And this is the year 2020, and Flight Simulator is on that list in the bronze category, in the silver category, in the top 100 games. And if you want to say, well, how many games actually launched on, Steam those years? Like, there couldn't have been a lot of games. Well, we got the data for that. Let's see what's going on. 2019, there were 8,000 games. 8,088. 2020, 9,000. 2021, 11,000. 2022, 12,000 games that were launched on Steam. So in all these games, you had Xbox games stand out in the top, tier of games. Even through 2023, I think Xbox didn't even make it to the platinum category till 2023 when there were arguably more games, but they had already acquired Bethesda at the time. But it's an Xbox game, right? And PlayStation even made it to the list with Helldivers 2. You know what I mean? Even in a year where there were even much more. So PlayStation, we've been trying to tell y'all, all right, that you should not be anti-consumer on PC, that you should do right, but, you're still stubborn. And so I said, you think I'm here for some silly console war? I can easily show you another market where Xbox games have been selling before they started bringing them to PlayStation. Ever heard of Steam? And then I said history homework because they tried to call me a revisionist. I said, look up the Steam best-selling games from 2019 till date. And then they said I was angry. I said, no, I'm not angry. I'm just pushing back on your claim forcefully because that's what this so-called fanboy thing looks like. They throw out all kinds of different claims. And by the way, shout out to Podcast Now. Goodness gracious. I saw this on your timeline. Okay? Just a few hours ago. I think that's when you posted it, but this had already gone. I didn't even know they posted anything. If it wasn't for your timeline on my whatever, I would not have seen it. Okay? Many of you may or may not know. Podcast Now is probably, no, I know Podcast Now, he probably is going to have some tips for me about how I behave on the YouTube channel, but he was one of the inspirations for me to continue pushing on this channel with this strategy. Okay? So, in my opinion, it seems like someone wants these Xbox games now, which is fine. They bought games that people want, or they make games that people want. Apparently, the truth has always been stranger than fiction. Talk to me in the comment section. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. Thanks so much for watching the video. Hopefully, we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.